Hey there, and welcome. So if you run an event venue, you know that bookings are everything, right? Well, today we're going to talk about something called the architecture of perception. It's this core idea that making your venue feel like a big professional operation is often way more important than the physical space itself.
All right, let's just jump right in with a question that honestly probably keeps a lot of you up at night. You might have a truly stunning space, gorgeous photos, maybe even great pricing, and yet, for some reason, you're losing bookings. It's so frustrating. But the answer? Well, it often has very little to do with how beautiful your venue actually is.
And this right here, this is a really critical distinction to make. See, you might think you're selling your space, your pricing, your packages, but what your client is really buying, what they're putting their money down for, is a feeling of organization, of reliability, and most of all, confidence. They're about to trust you with one of the biggest days of their lives, and if your whole operation feels even a little chaotic, that trust just evaporates.
So, this leads to a really important shift in how we think about this whole thing. We have to redefine the word professional, but not from our point of view. We have to see it from the only perspective that actually matters, the guests. Let's get inside their heads for a minute.
You see, for a guest, professional doesn't mean you have a huge team or some fancy downtown office. It's all about their experience. It means fast responses. It means clear information. It means your communication feels structured. It means consistency. The last thing they want is to be confused, and they definitely don't want to feel like they're chasing you down for answers. This is like their subconscious checklist for whether or not you've got your act together.
And this just nails the point, doesn't it? A potential client has absolutely no idea if you're a one-person show working from your kitchen table or a team of 20 in a high-rise. They can't see behind the curtain. All they have to go on is the experience you give them. And if that experience is smooth, structured, and seamless, well, then you feel like a major, serious operation.
Okay, so the big question is, how do you actually build that big impression? That's what this next part is all about. We're going to break down 5 very specific, very actionable signals that create that professional perception. Think of this as your blueprint.
And look, it's just 5. We're not talking about 100 different things you have to juggle. Just 5 clear signals that any venue, big or small, can use to project a much more established and trustworthy image.
All right, signal number 1, immediate structured communication. Think about it. When a potential guest sends an inquiry and boom, they get an instant, polished response with clear next steps, that impact is huge. Think about it. Big professional operations, they just don't make you wait.
And that's the message you're sending. Without even saying a word, your guest's immediate subconscious thought is, whoa, okay, these people are on it. They do this all the time. Right from that very first interaction, you've established that you're a pro, and you haven't even had to lift a finger.
Moving on to signal number 2, centralized information. You know those venues that feel kind of small time? They create this trail of chaos, sending scattered PDFs, answering the same questions over and over again in emails. A truly professional operation does the opposite. They guide guests to one single organized place where everything, and I mean everything, is explained clearly. And the payoff here is huge. When your guests can find the answers themselves without having to ping you for every little detail, it just makes your venue feel so much more mature and well-managed. It shows you've thought of everything, that you've anticipated their needs, and that is a massive confidence booster.
Okay, number 3 is a big one, consistent messaging. I mean, seriously, there is nothing that will wreck your credibility faster than a guest getting conflicting information. If one person on your team says one thing and someone else says the exact opposite, you immediately look disorganized, you look untrustworthy.
So, it all boils down to this. Consistency builds trust, period. And real, lasting consistency doesn't just come from telling your team, hey, let's all be on the same page. It comes from having all that information documented and centralized, just like we talked about in Signal 2, so that everyone on your team is singing from the exact same songbook. All right, coming in at number 4 is clear processes. Simple booking for viewings, those automatic confirmations that pop into your inbox, structured reminders, all of it makes guests feel like they're inside a well-oiled machine. They feel safe, they feel secure, they know that nothing is going to fall through the cracks.
And this quote, this really gets to the heart of it all, doesn't it? That feeling of being inside a well-run machine, that is what professionalism feels like to a client. It's got nothing to do with how many employees you have. It has everything to do with how solid your structure is.
And that brings us to our last signal, number 5, calm communication.
Just think for a second about how it feels when you get those rushed, scattered messages. Late replies, overly casual language, missing details. It feels frantic, right? Venues that feel large and established, they communicate with this sense of calm, of predictability.
Now, this is a really powerful idea. It's so easy to think, oh, I just need to hire calmer people. But that's not really it, is it? That's not the root of the problem. That operational calm, that feeling of being in control, it comes directly from having strong systems in place. When your systems are handling all the repetitive stuff, your people are freed up to communicate with focus and composure.
Which actually brings us to a super common mistake I see all the time. When things start to feel chaotic, what's the first instinct? Hire more people, right? But I'm telling you, this is a trap, and it is almost always the wrong first move.
This line of thinking right here, that's the trap. Because here's the problem. If your underlying system, your structure is broken, adding another person doesn't solve the chaos. It just means you're throwing another person into the chaos. Your operation gets more expensive, but it doesn't get any more professional.
When you look at it side by side like this, the shift is, well, it's huge. The small feeling venue is totally reactive. The guest asks, the staff scrambles, info is all over the place, and nobody's sure what happens next. But the large feeling venue, it's intentional. The guest asks, a system responds instantly, all the information is in one place, and the process is crystal clear. It's a total shift from being reactive to being intentional.
Okay, so you do all this work. You implement these signals, you shift your operations from reactive to intentional. What's the actual payoff? What's in it for you? Let's talk about the real, tangible business benefits that come from mastering this power of perception.
And what's so fascinating is that pretty much all of these advantages, guests being less sensitive about price, being more decisive, trusting you faster, they all boil down to one single thing. You're reducing your client's doubt. A professional structure just strips away all that uncertainty that makes people hesitate, that delays bookings, and that creates stress for everyone involved, including your own staff.
Look, if there's just one thing you take away from all of this, please let it be this. This is the whole ballgame right here. Systems are what you use to scale how professional you feel. People are what you use to scale how much work you can do. You build the structure first, then, and only then, do you bring in more people to handle the workload inside that strong professional structure. And so I want to leave you with a question to think about. Take a good, honest look at your own venue's operations. Is your day-to-day work, your team's workflow, built on a constant state of reaction, or is it built on a solid foundation of structure? The answer to that question, that's where you'll find the key to unlocking that next level of professional perception.